for Nigerian parents or for African parents, it's like, oh, oh, hi, nice. My name is XYZ. Nice to meet you. Oh, so what you do? Isn't that the question when we all go out? So you meet somebody new. It's like, oh, so what do you do? And that question is loaded. That question is, okay, so tell me why you're an important person that I should be talking to. Or tell me what thing of value you have to offer the world. I'm so much more than my job titles. I'm so much more than the things that I do for a living. But I understand inherently that people want me to pitch myself to them. They want me to justify why I'm somebody of worth or value. I feel that all human beings have value inherently, but that's not the world that we live in. And it makes me so sad, guys. I will truly, truly be honest. It makes me incredibly sad to think that we don't value each other, that the value we place on each other is very much quantifiable by how much money people assume you make. And it is an assumption. Hey guys, what it do? It's Folu Storms here. Welcome to the StormCast. If you're just joining me for the first time, thank you so much. I really appreciate having you here. And if you are just joining, the StormCast is essentially a podcast where I share my internal musings and thoughts. It is a bit different this episode or this season because I do have guests now from time to time. But today it's going to be just me. And today I kind of want to talk about internal pressure. I want to talk about our identity as a multiverse. And I want to talk about imposter syndrome. So let's see. The imposter syndrome conversation or musing for me, I think was sparked a bit by a conversation I had with a guy called Fuad Lawal. I think my conversation with Fuad on the StormCast was incredibly interesting, and something that stuck out for me was this idea that Fuad, with all the things that he's done, still deals with imposter syndrome from time to time. And I know that I do. I'll be very honest with you. I know that, but let me try and backtrack. Let's first look at identity. It's a big theme for the StormCast because I feel that when people ask, who are you? Quite often what we start talking about is either what we do for a living, or we talk about a group that we belong to, whether that's your identity as an ethnicity, or whether it's the identity of being Black, whether it's the identity of being Nigerian, or the identity of being African, or the identity of being a woman. And I feel like all those different labels, they do a different thing in your brain. It is very rare that when someone asks you, who are you, that we go to anything philosophical. We usually frame ourselves in the context of what we do for a living. And what we do for a living also places in our minds and in the minds of others a sense of value. It's like, what are you worth? Which is why for Nigerian parents or for African parents, it's like, oh, oh, hi, nice. My name is XYZ. Nice to meet you. Oh, so what you do? Isn't that the question when we all go out? So you meet somebody new. It's like, oh, so what do you do? And that question is loaded. That question is, okay, so tell me why you're an important person that I should be talking to. Or tell me what thing of value you have to offer the world. And if you say anything less than, oh, well, I run a multi-conglomerate that does XYZ, or, I fundraise for this. I mean, shout out to our tech guys, but they go immediately to whether they have unicorn that they have fundraised for, how much money they have raised. That is the way that we ascribe value to people. And while it can be great, it's also a scary and terrifying thing. So it leaves so much. There's just so much to unpack and so much to think about there. When people ask me like, oh, who are you and what do you do? I struggle because I'm someone who is fascinated by so many things in life. And I followed my curiosity into different spaces and different places and different careers. Now I sort of reel it off the tongue, and I'm more comfortable with saying that, oh, hi, my name is Folu Storms. I am an actor. I'm a voiceover artist. I am a lawyer. I'm a this. I'm so much more than my job titles. I'm so much more than the things that I do for a living. But I understand inherently that people want me to pitch myself to them. They want me to justify why I'm somebody of worth or value. I feel that all human beings have value inherently, but that's not the world that we live in, and it makes me so sad, guys. I will truly be honest. It makes me incredibly sad to think that we don't value each other, that the value we place on each other is very much quantifiable by how much money people assume you make, and it is an assumption. I think that human beings are so much more than what they choose to do for a living. I believe that we are the sum of our experiences. I believe that we are reflections of our passions. I believe that we are reflections of our ideals and our values and standards, our experiences. We are the things that we love and the things that we speak about and the things we give attention to. We are so much more than a job title. And the reason imposter syndrome exists, perhaps, is because we have been conditioned and we've been taught to limit ourselves into the box of a job, into the box of who's willing to pay you and how much are they willing to pay you to do a particular thing. It is bizarre. I also find that the identity box that you tick very much is a way that people are able to communicate how much value they should even ascribe to you. And what do I mean? I think, and it's crazy if it's true, but I think that when I'm filling in some of these forms, sometimes online you have these forms you need to fill in and they're like, oh, tick a box, which do you belong to? Is it black? Is it Asian? Is it Hispanic? Is it whatever? Are you male? Are you female? I think that every time I tick a box, there's somebody on the other side weighing up my value. I believe and I think that the value that someone ascribes to me based on this form that I filled, whether I tick black, is very different to the value they will ascribe to me if I tick white. I think that the value changes if I tick male or if I tick female. I think that the value changes if I tick Black American or if I tick Black African other, because those boxes are there. In the context of Nigeria, I believe that value changes if I tick Yoruba or if I tick that I am Efik. The value in that box or the value ascribed to me changes again, where it's like, write down your state of origin. I'm like, for what? I live in Lagos. Which state? What do you need the state? The state that I'm working and living and operating out of, that I was born and raised in, that I do everything in, is Lagos. What do you need my state of origin for? While I know that it can be useful to group people in certain respects, there is a real danger by limiting the human experience and a person's value to a box to be ticked. And now in the age of social media, in the age of advanced tech, in the age of excess information overload or flow, I think that shoving ourselves into boxes is even more dangerous. It's become even easier to weaponize against people. That's what I think. That's where I'm at with that thought process. And so when it comes to this imposter syndrome, I don't think that it's a lack of confidence. I know that insecurity plays a part in feeling inadequate, but it's not. It's insecurity is a little bit different to me than confidence. Like, I'm confident in certain things that I've done over and over again. Experience kind of teaches you confidence, and it teaches you that you can kind of keep going in that direction, and it's all good. And because I know, and I say this from experience, because I remember the first time I was hired in a production company. I used to work at Ndani TV, for those who don't know. And you can go Google that. I used to work at Ndani, and I remember when they hired me and they're like, oh, can you do this, this, this? I was like, yeah, of course. I'll come on and be a producer. I knew nothing about being a producer. What did I know? I wasn't even confident that I could do it. But over the years, I'm relatively confident. I'm like, okay, yeah, I've got it. I can do that. I've done it before. I know how to do X, Y, and Z. I can do that again. But I still feel a bit like an imposter because there's a lack of security in the confidence that I have, because I keep thinking of like, okay, but how much value is ascribed to the types of productions I've done? How much value is ascribed to that? And it's one thing to be a producer on this level at Ndani. It's another thing to be a producer at the Disney or at, and that person is writing producer and me too, I'm writing producer. Can it possibly be the same producer? I think that's what imposter syndrome sort of is that technically I am doing all these things that a producer is supposed to do, but because I'm not doing it at a certain scale, and because someone isn't paying me a certain amount of money, there is an insecurity in the skill set that I have built up. It's the same way I can say, oh yeah, I'm a TV host, I'm a radio host, I'm a presenter, I do all this stuff. And I'm confident in certain spaces where I know that I do it well. But there's always that little bit of insecurity, like, yeah, but are you Ryan Seacrest? Are you Oprah? Are you TV presenting at Oprah level? And I think that is because society has created this narrative where you're only really valuable if somebody is paying you at a certain value level. Again, our value is sort of put down to these very specific boxes. And it's crazy. I don't like it. I wish that wasn't the case. But it's also sort of what's motivated me to come talk a lot more, to share a lot more, because I know I'm not the only one having these thoughts. And having someone like Fuad on to be like, oh, well, he felt a little bit of imposter. I'm like, bruh, like you've done the Zikoko, you've done the tech cabals, you've done, all these media companies in Nigeria that are doing really well and are doing very interesting things and doing very innovative things and are discovering, and you're archiving and you're doing all this stuff. And you're doing it at a really high level and you keep innovating, you keep pushing, but you're still struggling. And I love that. I think in a way, it's great that we're always trying to be better and we're trying to be more. I think people should always have a little bit of hunger. You should always be a little bit hungry. You should always set your sights up here, set your sights up to the sky. Like I'm always looking ahead, like, ooh, what else? But never forget to really pay attention to where you are. And never forget to be as comfortable as possible with who you are and what it is that you're doing. There's that. And I think in that line of just sort of looking at the multiverse of identities, when I think of my work as an actor as well, it's really interesting because I feel that performance and being an actor has sort of helped me in my emotional range. It has encouraged a level of deep reflection and insight that I don't think any other career path that I'm on could have done. So what do I mean? I'm the sort of person that I like to study the human condition. It's why I like to tell stories. I am endlessly and eternally fascinated by people and why people do the things that they do, and people's life stories, and why they've chosen the path that they're on. So I'll give you an example. I went to the site for Vistanium. I think that's Fuad's thing. So he's been on my brain, right? And there was a story that immediately caught my eye, and it's called Mama Balo. And Mama Balo is a really cool mini documentary and write-up about this woman who takes so much pride and joy in her work. And what her work is, what she does, is she cleans toilets. She's a toilet cleaner. And Mama Balo is so beloved by people in the community. She takes cleaning toilets as a personal mission. So an example that they sort of gave in the write-up, because I didn't have time to go through the mini documentary, and I will go back, but I just remember thinking, oh my God, this is so beautiful. This is like an ethos I have. I love God, right? I believe that God has been doing such a wonderful work in my life. even at times when I've strayed away. And I think I'm generally that's truly prodigal son or daughter. But I also believe that God knows who God has made, and I'm God's child. Now I will just proceed in the way that I can, as best as I can. But to see this written story about a woman who takes so much pride and joy and dignity in cleaning toilets, a job that I think the average person is like, oh God, toilet cleaner, I'm not gonna do that, and we look down on it. I was talking about identity and all these boxes. I was immediately filled with like so much like curiosity about Mama Balu. I was like, who is this wonderful woman? I was like, who is this wonderful woman who takes this thing as a calling in life? And the example that was given in the write-up was, she doesn't just clean the toilet, she looks at holistically the whole area. So there was an example of a drain that was completely clogged, so it was affecting the way the toilet that she was cleaning was flowing, and Mama Balu goes there and cleans out the drain by hand. It was not her business, it was not her concern. And in Nigeria especially, maybe in the rest of the world too, but I can speak again for this case study of Nigeria, the average response to anything that is not in that people's direct line of purview is like, oh, no concern me, that was not my business, not my this thing. And most people would just walk away. They don't care. They're here to just tick a box, do the quote unquote job and bounce, but not Mama Balu. She wants to make sure it is done well. And she was smiling. And in the videos, you see her smiling, you see her joyful. Her work is to clean toilets. And I just thought, bruh, that's so brilliant. And I started immediately thinking about what it would be like to tell a story about this character, about Mama Balu, and the things in her life that have led her to this moment. Who formed this woman? Which parents raised this woman who takes so much love and pride and joy in doing something so simple and doing it thoroughly? Who understands that although it seems like a small job, it's a core part of community? Who understands that this thing that she does is interconnected with other things, and when there's a blockage somewhere, she will go out of her way to fix that? And I love that. It sounds really weird, but I genuinely love it. I love that this was not a story about perceived wealth. I love that it was not a story about someone who's turning, she's turned her toilet cleaning into a multi-million naira business all of a sudden. Hey, if she decides that's what she wants to do, Mama Balu will support you. We're gonna do this for you, ma. But that she is content and joyful and loving about the thing that she does do without making it about money is phenomenal to me. I really want to live in a world and express emotionally, a lot of the time, human traits and human values that have nothing to do with money. I don't think that value is always about money. And I know quite often we think that money is the only measure of value. And it stresses me out endlessly. Sometimes it makes me so sad I could cry. Sometimes I do cry. This is, I guess, again, I'm out here treating this like a diary. But you guys are low-key my therapist. I mean, I have my therapist, but I love that you guys are also here, And again, jump in the comments. Feel free to put like an emotion, put like a heart in the emotion for me, because I'm out here like bearing my heart at the moment. But I really, that's the thing I love about being a performer and being an actor, is that it allows me to indulge the most human part of me. It allows me to indulge it in such a free and such an inspiring way, where I don't have a fear of being judged when I'm performing. Because my whole focus in a performance is to tell the truth of that person's life, is to dig beyond the titles, is to dig past the boxes, it's to dig as deeply into a person's soul as I possibly can, and then in turn open that soul for you to see. Performance allows me to be so emotionally in tune in a way that I am not certain I could ever really be in real life. That's what I love about acting. That's what I love about performance. And that's what I love about that identity. It's why I can never let it go. It's why, even though I always joke that actors in Nigeria are at the bottom of the entertainment food chain, that is where the poverty do live. You people think I'm playing with you, but it is. I don't understand when people are always playing fancy dress and pretend. It's a pretense. It's a lie. It's a lie. Nigerian actors are poor. They're globally poor. When they're not, it's not acting money that's paying for it. Come and fight me outside. No. If I'm lying, come and fight me outside. And again, I'm not saying, let me also clarify. I don't really have to clarify to you. It's my podcast. Come and beat me. I say what I want to say. But I do feel that when I compare what I make as an actor to my other streams of income, I think it's the bottom of the totem pole. That's what I think. Maybe I'm not that great an actor. I don't know. But I'm just being candid with you. These again are my internal thoughts. But I think that what motivates a lot of actors, whether they express it the same way that I do, but I know what certainly motivates me, especially even when we look at our actors on a global level internationally, there is so much beyond the money, because so many actors work for so long without ever making it big. So many performers and creatives work for so long without ever making it big, but there's something deeper that drives that performance. There's something deeper that drives that desire to show up again and again. There's something deeper that drives us to stay on set for crazy hours in crazy types of makeup, in crazy conditions. I mean, I haven't yet seen it, but Frankenstein's Monster, I was watching a sort of like mini interview clip of what's his name again? Jacob is what I'm talking about. So Jacob, and I remember the producer talking about, picking Jacob, and just watching when Jacob was talking about being the creature, and how he would just be on set. He had nowhere else to go. He was like, I would live on set, because I'd never felt so at once contained yet so free, because he could just be in that character. And it, sometimes when creatives talk and sometimes when performers talk, it sounds a bit like woo woo rah rah, but I get it. Because to truly find a character in a performance that you love, you could. It's like removing sunglasses. Maybe if allowing the world to see your soul was maybe like your eyes, or maybe the sun, I don't know which way around that analogy should go. It really is like taking off your sunglasses and just being bare and being exposed. And it's so freeing. And it's just so freeing. And I think that the more that the more time that I've spent as an actor and living out that identity, the more time it has allowed me to reflect on myself as a person, and to be able to really think through what my triggers are, what my vulnerabilities are, where my weaknesses lie, where my strengths are. And I'm always talking about it. The people who are close to me know. I have learned how hard I can be. I've also honestly learned how sensitive I can be. I have learned how loving I can be. I've also learned that I want to cultivate wickedness. It's been a theme for me in 2025. Have I succeeded in cultivating the wickedness? No, I have not, but I will continue to try. Hashtag cultivating wickedness 2025. The year isn't over yet. I could still succeed in this. But I say all of that to say, I think maybe why I wanted to sort of muse on this and share this episode with you is because I would really like for us, and by us I mean my little community that indulge me and you listen and you encourage and you poke me and you're like, Fulu, why haven't you heard? I want us all to really embrace all the aspects of ourselves. I want us to really embrace all aspects of ourselves, to embrace all our identities, because it's God planted for a reason. You were born this way for a reason, and you continue to evolve for so many reasons. And if we allow ourselves to embrace the fullness of our identities beyond any economic value, beyond a monetary value, therein lies the utopia that we could have as a race, as a community. Therein lies the possibilities for contentment. Therein lies, your end of life scenario. If you could have the best end of life scenario, what would that look like? I think a lot of that comes with truly allowing yourself to be fulfilled in all these different ways. My identity and in the multiverse of my identity as a presenter and as a producer and a host has brought me here in front of the mic to know that, one, I have built this skill set and I do have a certain level of confidence, insecurity be damned and imposter syndrome be damned, to make sure that I continue to share. I think that every time we share our stories and we have conversations about it and we push that narrative and we keep talking, people are learning. I'm learning every time I share, every time I sit. It forces self-reflection. It forces introspection. And when you introspect and you self-reflect, you are able to move on to higher planes. You're able to test things out. I believe that my skill set as a lawyer does the same thing as well. It's like, okay, how do you put this and this together? Okay, if this is what you want, let's see the ways that we can go about it. How do you get the skill set? Okay, let's go read. Let's see what we'll find the knowledge. And I think, honestly, it's my internal curiosity that led to law, because I was like, oh, I kind of like this. Like, I help people solve problems. Let's solve your problems. And we all have problems. We have all these things. But yeah, that multiverse of identity ties into our culture, ties into how we're raised. It ties into value and what we perceive as valuable and how we grow that value. And the value doesn't have to be just monetary. Although I do think that we do need to be aware of the monetary value that is subscribed or ascribed to us and to the different things that we do. Because last, money makes the world go round. All right? Last, when you have money, what do we say in Nigeria? Money stops nonsense. Like, money stops nonsense. Like, if when you have money, you just have access to certain things. You are able to do so much more. And I really sit here and I look at these things and I do all the things that I do. Yes, because I love them, but I've also found a way to derive monetary value from my passions and from my curiosities. And my wish and hope and dream is that in my doing so and in my being bold enough and crazy enough to chase some of these dreams and some of these passions, that people who listen and people who watch and people who are curious enough to try and learn from some of the things I'm doing, that they're able to do the same things also. Maybe even just by watching me make my mistakes. And I believe that David Oyelowo, who's been around in Nigeria recently, shout out to Yoruba Saxon. I didn't get to meet him, but I know he was here for Afrifa and doing all this talking. And he said something, I saw it written out somewhere, which was so cool, where he was like, it's not just the permission to succeed, but the permission to fail that he wants. Like, not permission, but the right to fail. And it's true, we should all have the right to fail. Like, dare greatly, like, dare wildly, like, do the thing you want to do, follow your passions, go. Just don't be limited. Don't be limited by a box. Don't be limited by identities, and don't allow imposter syndrome to stop you from doing. Fear can be in the car with you in the passenger seat, but it must not take over and drive. It must not do that. And also, remember that sometimes these insecurities it's the reverse of your sense of self-importance. You think you're so great and important that there are all these ghost thoughts other people are having about you. Nobody cares. Everyone is struggling their own struggle. So you might as well do your thing, Be compassionate. Experience the breadth of your humanity. Experience the depth of your human emotions. Allow your identities to spill forth. If you were given 5 talents, multiply the 5 talents. Don't be like the guy who had 1 talent, then he buried it in the ground, and then the owner came back and he was like, "What did you do, you dummy? I gave you 1 and you just buried it? You are very stupid. Give it to me." Collected it back. Was it the 1 talent guy? This is why I should go back and read the Bible well. I can't even remember the talent story well. I'm sure like people are just like Folu or Denier. See, these are the issues, but I'm trying is the point. The point is I have reserved my right to be embarrassed or to embarrass myself in front of others. And I think that is beautiful and bold. And I'm so proud of me for pushing in this direction, the right to experiment and to try and to do the things. And if you like the experiments that I'm going with so far, again, feel free to let me know in the comments. If you don't, also feel free to let me know in the comments and why. I may not care what you have to say. That's also my right. It's my right to see your comments. And I can type, "You are very foolish. Get away. Get away from here. Get away from here." I can do that. But I'm just so happy and pleased and excited. And honestly, just in a good space to know that I'm trying. And the goal, honestly, is to die empty. I want to leave this plane whenever that may be, and hopefully it won't be for a very, 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 very long time. I want them to pursue me from the earth, to be like, you don't do. Mama, wrap up. I want to live to like a wrinkly, squeezed, like, do you remember Batty Van Winkle? She just passed away this year. Batty was wrinkled in her bright pink lipstick and bow hair. I want to be that crazy old woman that people are just like, Mama, you're not tired. Are you not tired? It's not enough. Go. That's what I want. I want to live and die empty. I want to express so much expression that every time you go and type in my name, just be like, remember that, Mama? I want them to speak about me for years to come. And not even just because it's me, but because it inspired something in them. That's what I want. And I hope that by my living vocally and by my living in such a present way, that it inspires you to do the same. I dare say that's probably my speech for today, because it's always like a little monologue. When I finish, I always feel a bit like, oh, wow. I'm just here talking to myself, but I appreciate that you guys indulge me. So thank you. Let me check my notes to see if I'm truly done. One moment. Nora, do you know how long I've been talking for? 37 minutes? Okay, that's not bad. Oh, fantastic. So I've made my episode. Let's wait, let me just see. Thank you. Okay, yeah. Okay, let me just round up now. I'm pretty much done. Okay, you want to sneak out? No problem. Nora, do you have the key card? This work can go, and then I'll just do the last bit. Thank you, Sam, for coming through. Appreciate you. I will do that. Thank you, my dude. Thank you. Nope. Yes. Oh, great. So you can't tell. That's what I love. Yeah. Oh, he's with me. So don't be angry. I was like, Tido has gone home with you. I would just laugh. Thank you. Okay, bye. Okay, sorry. Let me wrap up now. What time is it, sir? Okay, good. So we have time to copy cards. And so, in the pursuit of all this greatness and in the pursuit of all our multiverse of identities and all the things we're doing and letting go of imposter syndrome, also just remember to rest. As much as, so if you think of the multiverse as like a playlist of different versions of yourself, hit the pause button. Like, rest is active. Rest is not a passive thing. You're not lazy. It's not like, oh my God, how could I? There's this. No, inhale, exhale, because also like you'll break the CD. Like you will wreck yourself, and the multiverse will stop functioning the way it's supposed to if you also don't rest. So wellness is really important. Self-care is really important. I know that, again, because we're always thinking of how to monetize and how to, do things that are more valuable. Like, it is valuable to you to rest. And I really have to throw that in there, because we have a tendency in this day and age where we're all experiencing burnout at an alarming rate. It feels like since 2020, it's been one long period of burnout for a lot of people. So please do find time to rest and just take care of self. I'm a huge advocate for that. And if there's one thing I know how to do in life, is to enjoy. And enjoyment for me sometimes is just sitting down and reading a book. It's doing yoga. It's just sleeping. It's doing nothing. Nothing I love more in this life than doing nothing. I love it so very much. Do nothing and eat. So I think that's it for the Stormcast for this particular episode. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget to go back and watch the other episodes of the Stormcast and listen, because don't forget, this started off as just a purely audio Stormcast, and it has continued to evolve, and it will continue to evolve. It's really just a reflection of my internal thoughts and processes. There may be other versions of other podcasts that I lead, but I really love this because it started off very organically, and you guys, my listeners, have really encouraged me all along this path, and I'm so grateful and I'm thankful. And I will see you again next week. All right. Bye-bye. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? Guys, Nora is laughing at me. I don't know why. I'm saying it on the point. If you're like, I'm going to sit with you in the edit. So if you think you are going to edit it out.